Good evening. We're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Leslie Guy, and I'm the junior high social worker, so thank you for coming tonight. We will be discussing your 8th graders, freshman class opportunities, the requirements to graduate, the different types of diploma, and the other career pathways and the other things that are offered to them as freshmen. So if you have any questions, just feel free to ask, okay? So, like I said, I'm the junior high social worker, and I'm responsible for scheduling 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th classes when they get into their freshman year next year. If their last name begins with letters A through K, they will begin meeting with Mrs. Adams, who's a high school counselor, and she is right here. She's also a parent of an 8th grade student. And then if the letters L through Z, they will meet with Mrs. Hines for academic planning and classwork as well. All right, so tonight we're going to talk briefly about 21st Century Scholars. In the blue brochure that you have, make sure you've all gotten one that has all the information that you need to know about 21st Century Scholars. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. We'll talk about Indiana's graduation requirements and diploma types, and again, 9th grade courses and graduation plans. Oh gosh. Okay, so 21st Century Scholar, again, that's the blue brochure that you have. You must be a resident of Indiana when you apply and when you receive the scholarship. Be a U.S. citizen or an eligible non-citizen. Be enrolled or 7th or 8th grade in public school. Fulfill the 21st Century Scholars Pledge, which is on the next slide. And be one of the following. A member of the family at or below the 2021 or 2022 income guidelines. So here's the household size. Again, this is a funded program. It's not through Lewis Cass, so it's determined by the program itself. So if you fall within those income guidelines, go on and apply, and it has to be done by the end of the 8th grade year or June 30th. So if you wait until July 1st, your student will not be eligible. So by June 30th of their 8th grade year. If you have a younger student, you can enroll them as early as 7th grade. So for 8th graders, it needs to be done by June 30th of 2022, okay? So one of the requirements is income. Another requirement is they have to at least earn a Core 40 diploma accredited by the Indiana Department of Education, have at least a GPA of 2.5 on a 4.0 scale, applying for admission at an eligible Indiana college, university, or institution as a high school senior, apply on time for state and federal financial aid by April 15th of their senior year of high school, and they will not break school rules by using illegal drugs, alcohol, committing crimes, or delinquent acts. And again, this is determined by the 21st Century Scholarship Program. So, Learn More Indiana is where you apply. Again, all that information in the blue brochure. You go online, you create an account, you enter all the information in a bunch of boxes. You have to have your tax information, social security numbers, things like that. It has to be done by June 30th of the 8th grade year. Everyone is encouraged to apply, especially if you do fall within the income guidelines. However, I know Mrs. Hines' motto is always best to have an application on file as a plan B in case something were to change in the future. All right, in order to graduate, there are 3 requirements that are required to be met now. One is getting a high school diploma, whether that's a Core 40, a Core 40 with academic honors, or a Core 40 with technical honors, or both. Some students can earn a Core 40 with academic and technical honors. Learn and demonstrate employability skills, and model post-secondary ready competencies. And on the back of the paper that I handed to you, it has that information as well for these requirements. So again, there's a Core 40, academic honors, technical honors, and there is a general diploma. However, the general diploma is based on a as-needed basis, but we always want all students to shoot for at least a Core 40 diploma, and then if they're able to go above and beyond for the academic or technical honors. Okay, so this is the first requirement that's required by the state of Indiana to graduate. The second one is, again, learn and demonstrate employability skills, and they must complete at least one of the following: a project-based service experience, a service-based experience, or a work-based experience, okay? And all that information is on the back of the sheet. It gives more details for that. And this is something I should mention too, that they're not going to start as freshmen. As they go through high school, this is something that they'll be working towards. So freshmen don't have to worry about starting these things next year as a freshman, but Mrs. Hines and Mrs. Adams will work with you as you go through high school on meeting these requirements, okay? And then they also have to complete at least one of the following: an honors diploma. They must complete the ACT or SAT and get a certain score. The ASVAB, all sophomores at Lewis Cass do take the ASVAB. It's typically known as the military entrance exam. However, we offer it to all 10th graders, whether or not they're interested in the military, because it does meet one of these post-secondary rating competencies to graduate. Completing a certification, an apprenticeship, a CTE concentrator, advanced placement, dual credits, or locally created pathways, which we'll go over those pathways, the dual credits and certifications in just a few minutes. Okay, so how we choose 9th grade courses is I started going in their PCC class, which they all 8th graders have. First semester, it's a high school credit. I started going in there towards December, and then the semester we start talking about classes for their freshman year. And then I continue that conversation in their health class, which all 8th graders do take health because that is also a high school credit needed to graduate. And we have a Google Doc called a graduation plan. They started that Google Doc 2 years ago with Mrs. Hines when she was still a high school counselor and junior high counselor. And they filled it in a little bit each year. And so now that they're getting ready to be a freshman, they started entering their freshman classes on there. And they'll use it for 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. It's just an ongoing document. It helps them keep track of classes that they're interested in or classes that they might want to take in the future or that they have taken. And once they've completed that, they shared it all with me. I went through it all. And then we went in the last couple of weeks and went into Power School where they enter the courses. So all your 8th grade students have their courses in Power School, and I'll tell you how to see those in just a second, okay? And if you want to see their graduation plan, it's just a Google Doc. They just log in their Google Docs and they can pull it up for you, okay? And it's just an ongoing document that can be changed at any time. So the goal of the document is encouraging planning of courses. On the document as well, they chose which diploma track they wanted to follow or that they plan to follow right now. That can always change because, like I said, it's an ongoing document. There are 2 ways to review the course request. Like I said, you can go in the Parent portal and click on class registration on the left side of the screen, or you can have your students pull up their student portal and click on class registration, and it will pull up their freshman classes that they requested. And then also you can look at their graduation plan. Their graduation plan, which is the Google Doc, should match the courses in Power School. However, not all of them do because they changed. They enrolled in different classes than what they updated the graduation plan, which that's an easy fix. If you want to make any changes to your students' course requests or have questions, please email me. I told them that their Power School would be locked last Friday. It's still open to make changes because we did go on a field trip on Thursday to the Polytechnic Academy in Galveston, where they got a tour of the different pathways that we offer, such as engineering classes, manufacturing classes, and early childhood classes. And then they also learned about the healthcare classes that we offer to them when they get as at least as a 10th grader or 11th grader. So some of them did change their classes after we went. So again, that's something, it's not set in stone. They can change it still later this year if they want to. So again, these are the different diploma types with the goal of either going into the workforce, the military, completing an apprenticeship, getting a certification of some sort, attending a 2-year or 4-year college after high school. This is a paper that you guys have. On the left where it says Core 40, it explains all the credits. They have to have 8 credits in English Language Arts to earn a Core 40, 6 in math, 6 in science, 6 in social studies, 11 electives, 2 PE credits, 1 health and wellness, which again, all 8th graders are in health class right now, and that will meet the requirement for the health credits. So I would encourage you to talk to your student and see how they're doing in this year's health class. Because if they don't pass it as an 8th grader, they have to take it online next year as a freshman, because it is required for graduation. And then also they took the PCC class already as well. 40 credits are required by Indiana, and it does say 40 on your paper. That was a typo on my end, but Lewis Cash requires 42 credits for a Core 40, okay? And then to earn academic honors, they have to meet all the Core 40 requirements and then go above and beyond and get an extra 5 credits. So they have to complete all the requirements. Earn 6 to 8 Core 40 world world language credits, which at Lewis Cass we only offer Spanish. And there are some 8th graders that started with Spanish this year, and then next year they'll be moving on to Spanish 2, or the opposite, some freshmen will be starting with Spanish 1. It's just different requirements as an 8th grader to take Spanish versus starting as a freshman. So if your student is wanting to do academic honors, they can start writing that Spanish as a freshman as well. They have to have 2 Core 40 Fine Arts credits, have a C or better in courses that will count toward the diploma, and have a grade point average of B or better. And then where it says complete one of the following, with A through F, they have to do one of the following. So earn 4 credits in 2 or more advanced placement classes and take the corresponding advanced placement exams. Earn 6 verifiable transcript and college credits and dual credit courses. So that would be our ag classes, our culinary classes, our early childhood classes, our computer science classes. I'm trying to think what else. There's a list in the next couple slides, and you'll see all of our dual credit classes in a few minutes. They have to earn 3 verifiable transcript and college credits from the approved dual credit list, 2 credits in AP courses and corresponding AP exams, and 3 credits in IB standard level courses and corresponding IB exams, which we don't offer, right? We don't offer IB classes right now, so. They have to earn a combined score of 1750 or higher on the SAT, critical reading, math, and writing sections, or minimum score of 530 on each, earn an ACT composite score of 26 or higher, and complete the written section, or earn 4 credits in IB courses, which again, we don't earn IB courses, have IB courses, and again, it's just one of these of A through F. They don't have to complete all of these, just one of them. Core 40 with technical honors, they have to complete all the requirements for Core 40, and there are a few differences. One, they don't have to have the 3 years of foreign language to get their technical honors. They do have to earn 6 credits in the college and career preparation courses. They do have to get a certification or complete a pathway, have a C or better in courses that count toward the diploma, have a grade point average or B or better, and complete one of the following A through E. So they can, any one of the options of A through F with academic honors, earn a score on work keys, reading for information, the AccuPlacer, the minimum scores of writing 80, reading 90, math 75, or a minimum score on the compass of 66, and algebra 70, and writing or reading 80. And again, a lot of these don't need to be focused on until after their freshman year. Okay? So just to keep in mind of keeping their grades up, making sure they're taking the right classes and staying on track. Okay, so again, this just kind of breaks it down. It's easier to read. Standard diploma and again as a Core 40, regardless of whatever school you're attending in the state of Indiana, that's the basic diploma. And we have to have 42 credits at Lewis Cass. The academic honors is better viewed as preparation for college. You have to have 2 extra credits in math, 2 fine art credits, the 3 years of a foreign language, which again, we only offer Spanish right now. All grades must be a C- or above, have a GPA of 3.0 or above by graduation, have 6 dual credits or 4 advanced placement credits with a total of 47 credits. And technical honors, completing the career pathways, getting a C or above, C- or above, having a 3.0 or above by graduation. And then Mrs. Hines and Mrs. Adam will help the student in determining the final requirements, and it also requires 47 credits. So here are the courses offered for freshmen. We have 3 levels of English. We have basic English 9, grade level English 9, and then advanced English 9. And when your students went into Power School, I just told them to put English 9, and later we'll put them in the correct English section. So if you go in and see, oh, my student's not in the right English section, that's okay, it will be fixed later on. We like to look at the information throughout the school year to make sure we place them in the best English classes as freshmen. Next year's classes offered is Algebra 1, Algebra 2, or Algebra Enrichment, depending on the student's needs. So if an 8th grader is in Algebra 1 now, they'll be in Algebra 2 next year. If they're in Math 8 now, they'll start Algebra 1 next year. Okay? And we also have an Algebra Lab. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Math Lab that we have in junior high, an Algebra Lab. And it is a little bit different because you do get a credit for math taking Algebra Lab. Well, as a junior high, you don't get a math credit for Math Lab. So Algebra Lab is an extra math credit. Science, they have integrated chemistry, physics, or ICP, and then they can skip ICP and take biology if they have a B- or higher in science 8 all school year. So some of your students may be signed up for biology, and some of them may be signed up for integrated chemistry, physics, or ICP. They have the option of taking world history, which is a social studies requirement for graduation. There are a handful of students that are going to wait until 10th grade just because of what they put in their schedule. It's a full schedule. So most of your freshmen will be taking world history if you will be waiting until 10th grade. They do have to have 2 PE credits to graduate, and we do ask that they earn these PE credits their freshman year. There are several different options now to get their PE credit. One way is just doing it the old-fashioned way, taking PE one semester, PE 2 the other semester. If they're an active student in athletics, they can get a PE flex credit, which basically means they're active in their sport, and then they have their coach fill out a PE flex credit form, which is available in the guidance office, and it needs to be completed by the end of the athletic season. So for example, if someone plays volleyball or football, it needs to be done by the end of the season, and you can earn two PE credits from 2 different sports. So volleyball, softball, football, and basketball, cross country, and track, 2 different sports. Another way to get a PE credit is by marching band. So if a student is a marching band, they can do marching band in a sport, they can do marching band in a PE. It just depends on each student. So they should have their PE classes in, or if they're doing marching band in a sport, you'll see, they'll be able to explain that to you, because the sports aren't in under Power School since it's not an actual class. But we ask. And then if a student is interested in strength and conditioning, which is a PE elective, they have to meet their PE credit. So there are a few freshmen that they'll get a PE credit first semester by doing either band or sport and PE 1, and then they'll be able to do like yoga, lifeguarding, or strength and conditioning second semester. And right now it'll just say PE 2 on all the schedules because we like to plan for them to take PE 2, and if they're able to do strength and conditioning, we'll drop that later on. And the students know this, I've explained it to them, but if you see it on there, that's why it's on there. We don't go ahead and register for strength and conditioning until after they've gotten their PE credits. And then they have several electives to choose from. They can take a study hall, there are the ag classes, the culinary classes, the child care classes, the polytechnic classes, ceramics, art, drawing, current events. And then freshman looks very similar, 10th grade looks very similar to the freshman classes. They'll have the option to do basic English 10, English 10, or advanced English 10. They'll move on to either algebra 2 or geometry, depending on what they took as a freshman. They'll move up to biology or chemistry or physics, depending on what they took as a freshman. And then their social studies, they don't have to take a social studies as a 10th grader unless they did not take world history as a 9th grader. And then electives, they have a lot more electives available, and our course book is offered on Newscast's website, so you can just go in there and see all the classes, and they have different descriptions as well. Okay, same for 11th, they'll be taking some sort of English, math, science, social studies, and then electives. And then 12th, again, English, math, science, social studies, and elective. And we're not going to go too much detail because that's a few years from now. And Mrs. Hines and Mrs. Adams will work on that as they progress through their freshman year. So the PE Flex credits, all the sports offered at Lewis Cass except for cheer will meet the requirements for PE credit and marching band. Okay, so all these sports will make you eligible. And again, it has to be 2 different sports in order to earn that. And I'm also mindful of, I tell the students, like if you are going to play sports, you also have to make sure that you stay academically eligible, because if you are ineligible to play sports, you're not going to get that PE credit. So we kind of talked about this already. 1 PE credit will be awarded. It's a student's responsibility to get the form completed and turned into the guidance office after completing the end of that season. They must be earned prior to the student's senior's year. They'll get a grade by the coach, and then this is the requirement. They have to have participation in over 95% of group activities, while injury-free, or 75% of group activities due to an injury. And then the trainer or a physician to sign off saying that yes, they're injured and they can only use 75%. These are our dual credit courses. We have several. We have the Ag Pathway. We'll go through the pathways here in just a few minutes. These are our dual credits: horticulture, plant and soil science, animal science, advanced life science, animals, landscape, APST1, agribusiness management, greenhouse production, introduction to engineering, principles of engineering, advanced manufacturing 1 and 2, principles of computing and topics in computer science, principles of ag. If they take it as a freshman, there are quite a few 8th graders that took it, but they do not earn a dual credit as an 8th grader. They have to be a freshman taking principles of ag. So if you took principles of ag this year as an 8th grader, you don't get a dual credit. Principles of early childhood education, the early childhood curriculum, early childhood education guidance, and early childhood capstone are all dual credits. And you do have to be enrolled as an Ivy Tech student to earn those credits, but we have a lady that comes from Ivy Tech and will help your student fill out the paperwork for them to become enrolled. Here are our weighted grade classes, and probably Mrs. Adams can explain those better than I can, but none of them are freshman classes. So these are classes that they'll take, usually 10th, 11th, 12th grade, and then those are weighted.
So they are weighted 1 extra GPA. So any of the classes, AP or QC, trig or CC is on there. Those are all weighted. So an A+ on our regular scale is 4.33. Our weighted classes would be a 5.33 if they get an A+. So it just helps raise their GPA, and it gives them the benefit of taking a harder class than the A.
So it's also important to remember the dual credit classes and AP classes are not the same. So the dual credits are the ones that I just went through. They earn an Ivy Tech credit, and the advanced placement classes do not. But they help. The advanced placement classes help go towards graduation and also their weighted classes.
And the dual credits. So the biggest difference is dual credits for Ivy Tech. They can enroll in those, and as long as they maintain their certain grade for Ivy Tech, they'll get that credit at the end of the year. AP classes are different because there's an actual exam at the end of them. So the student has to get a 3, 4, or 5 on the AP exam in order for it to be transferable to a college. So Ivy Tech dual credits you kind of know already going into it. There's a couple prerequisites for reviewable, but one of the prerequisites is meeting a class that they have to take beforehand anyway. So the state said in order for a kid to count an AP class, they have to take the exam, but they don't have to pass it. They only have to pass it if they're hoping to use it and transfer it to college.
Okay, so here's a weighted scale. You can see, like she mentioned, if you get an A+ in the weighted class, it would be 5.33 instead of an unweighted class, it would be 4.33. So it just adds a point to your grade, towards a grading scale on the weighted classes. Okay, these are the pathways that I was talking about. These are a requirement to earn a technical honors diploma. So if you're interested in, if your student's interested in ag pathways, they already know that they either have to be in principles of ag as an 8th grader or signed up to be a freshman, and then they move down. So after they take principles in ag in 8th or 9th grade, they can move up to the second step, which is concentrator A, and either take animal science, plant and soil science, APST, horticulture, and then horticulture, but they have to follow going down. So the animal systems, they go down under each one. Okay, again, your student, they'll be able to show you this in PowerSchool, which they've signed up for. These are our childhood education classes and our culinary classes. They're offered here in our building. Starting as a freshman, they can take principles of early childhood education, and then they take early childhood education, the childhood classes are offered at the Polytechnic Academy. The culinary classes are offered here. So if your student is signed up for the childhood classes, it does take 2 class periods, so you'll see on their schedule principles of early childhood education and then early childhood education curriculum. If they signed up for principles of culinary arts, that's the first one that they have to take before they can move on to food and theory. So some people signed up for principles of culinary arts, and some people signed up for the first 2 classes in the childhood education. And these are also dual credit classes, except for the principles of culinary arts, it is not, but the childhood classes are. These classes are offered through Polytechnic Academy, the Introduction to Advanced Manufacturing and Logistics. If they take this class, they have to have a study hall with it, and they'll get transported over to the Polytechnic Academy as well as for the childhood classes. And then engineering, they take the first two, which be Introduction to Engineering and Principles of Engineering. So some kids have 2 engineering classes on their schedule, and these are dual credit classes as well. Computer science, the first class of that is Principles of Computing. Once they take that, next year after freshman, they can take topics in computer science. This is offered in our building. The next one is the healthcare. This is new. Unfortunately, freshmen cannot start these classes, so that will be in the future if your student is interested in the healthcare classes. They'll have to wait a couple years to start those. But so the good thing about these classes is a lot of them, once they complete them, they'll get some type of certification. So for example, they can complete this and become a CNA.
So the 2 programs that Diane mentioned, the healthcare one and the early childhood, those are actually they're called
the kids will get a certificate at the end, which is 30 credit hours at Ivy Tech. So they can go on after our early childhood or our principles of healthcare, and in 1 year then finish their associates at Ivy Tech. Kids can also just do a pathway through here, but they're going to teach a psychology class, an English class, a lot of other college classes in those 2 particular pathways. So it's a great opportunity for a kid to get 30 dual credits under their belt, especially if they're thinking healthcare or early childhood. Plus, they will have additional dual credits that they may take here at Cass for other options. So they can end up leaving with quite a few between those 2 programs at the Polytech and everything else that's offered. But yes, so your students, though, if they want to do the healthcare, can't start that until 10th grade. Yes, they can do the early childhood starting as of next year. These programs are great for kids and hands-on, and they're going to do a lot of learning, but there is a lot of college classes. So we had some kids sign up for the early childhood this year, and we were still learning along with the kids as to what the program was going to be like. And it has a lot of requirement because there are a lot of college classes, but it's doable for a lot of kids. And again, just such an opportunity to get half of an associate's degree done while in high school.
So, final thoughts, graduation plans are not set in stone, and nor is the diploma type your student has chosen. So, they'll have either the Core 40 marks, the Core 40 with academic honors, or Core 40 with technical honors. I would always encourage them, like, hey, have you talked to your parents about this? So that might be a good conversation of what your student has chosen for their own path. And just email me with any questions or course changes, and then don't forget to complete a 21st Century Scholarship application if you think you may be eligible by June 30th for 8th graders. Any questions? Okay, if you have any questions, just feel free to come up and ask, or email me, or have your student come and ask, whichever is fine. That's all for tonight. Thank you.